Good times, come on! Well, we're not quite in a celebration, but, we talked offline and before, and it looks like good times are about to roll into Winnipeg. Anyway, this is Sportmentary with my buddy from Winnipeg, the Commish. How are you doing today?
I'm a bit confused, confounded, dumbfounded.
But happy, right?
I don't know. I don't know if I should feel happy about this.
Well, why don't you explain why I am almost on top of the world? I feel like I've just hit the top of Mount Everest.
Well, at about 2 o'clock this afternoon, I took a little break and checked the Free Press online, only to find the headline, CEO Garth Buchko is recommending that the Bombers fire Joe Mack. So immediately I telephoned you to inform me of this. You hit the roof. And I'm still a little bit shocked about how this is all done. I was getting prepared to talk to you about the debacle in BC and how they bumbled their way to another loss. I didn't expect them to make a move of this nature. They're in the bye week. They've got 2 games coming up against Hamilton, 2 games coming up against Edmonton. The NFL cuts are just around the corner. They don't have someone to replace them. It's just, I'm tired of Joe Mack and his lack of production. But I think the damage has been done for the year, and to go out and fire him now just brings even more uncertainty to the situation.
Let's be honest. I think your biggest shock value here is, and this is not only reading between the lines, but talking to you earlier. Yes, the way it was handled, but more importantly, that you have a guy, the so-called CEO of the team, who's letting everything out in the open when a decision hasn't been made. And I gotta agree with you. I'm happy that they're going this way. I'm just not happy you throw the guy under the bus before you've told him. And I've always believed that. I think you can see I'm pretty consistent. The Vikings under old management used to do this all the time. Sometimes they would let a guy go on Christmas Eve. All right? There's certain ways that you act as an organization so you gain respect. And gain respect from those who you will hire in the future and those that will play for you in the future. So while I'm on top of the world, because this is a decision, you and I don't agree necessarily, I think this is it. He should be gone. He should have been gone last year. I don't care if it's in the middle of the season. He should be gone. The guy's useless. Okay?
Right, but if he should have been gone last year, why give him another year to...
Well, that was the argument that you and I were making last year. But the point is, to me, it's not that he's going. To me is, and this is what I think you back me up on this. This is why I think those who run the team are clowns. They are wasting taxpayer money and they're inept. Okay? You do not, I believe this, you do not go out and publicly, out in the media, out in the public, out a guy before you've outed him. The way to handle this was, okay, this is what he wants to do. He proposes it. They meet. They make the decision to fire him. They fire him. They tell him in person or over phone or however they want to do it. Then they go to the media. That to me is the way you handle situations like that. That's how you gain respect. That's professionalism. That's how you would do it in a corporation, in most of them. And those that don't do it that way aren't respected in their industry. And that goes the same here, that I don't respect this organization because they don't garner that respect.
And that's exactly, they were a laughingstock. I don't even know what to call them at this point based on how they've done this. It's just ass backwards. It's like they just keep shooting themselves in the foot. It's like they're cursed or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think of, I'm thinking back to when they let go of Cal Murphy and how they did that to him after all those years of hard, good service. It was that 52-0 or 3 loss in Edmonton, remember? East or Western semifinal or Western final. And then they unceremoniously dumped him. I think they've been cursed since that. And when they changed their uniforms the following year, remember they changed their uniforms to that god-awful lightning bolt? I think both of us were, in shock. So they just haven't.
Well, I remember what you said. You said the end is near. Something like that. I don't remember the exact words. I was laughing at the time because you're making that type of a leap. You said the end's here. We're doomed. We're done.
And and they are. They have been doomed. You know what? A lot of people overlook the fact that they have made it to 3 Grey Cups. Yes, they have not been able to convert one into a victory. But each year after they've made the Grey Cup, they've tanked, and they haven't made the right moves to sustain any kind of success. So I don't think they've been total losers. But under Joe Mack, I had the stat. Their record is, bear with me 1 second, 21-39. That is not good.
Speaks volumes. I have 2 questions for you. All right, I'm going to tell them. I'm going to spit them out now, and I want you to answer both of them. 1, how do you garner respect? How do you build a winning organization? How do you put a winning product on the field when you act like a clown like you did today? And I'm talking about management. 2, how many years now in rebuilding? How many more years will it take before the Bombers can put a winning product on the field? Let's go.
Well, let's answer your first question. Actually, let's answer the second question. It's impossible to tell how long it'll take to put a winning team on the field because right now their quarterback situation's a mess. You know, I'm prepared to give Justin Goltz all the time in the world he needs this year to turn into a great quarterback, but without veteran leadership to help him along the way, be it a solid quarterback coach, be it, Buck Pierce, who, he's going to be cut by the September. There's a September Veterans Day, right, where they cut those guys that they don't want to keep the big salaries around, big contracts around. So Buck's going to be gone. Who's here to mentor Justin Goltz and even Max Hall for that matter? So, I think success would start with a good quarterback. Success would start with a competent offensive line because they have a real thoroughbred in Chad Simpson at running back. He's wasted here. The defense looks like it has potential, but I'm sorry, without a good quarterback, you're nothing in this league.
Any league.
Well, yeah, but specifically the CFL. I mean, we know the
CFL is a passing league. If you can't pass 66.
Yeah, I would say that last year your Minnesota Vikings would have been nowhere without.
Oh, that's granted because they
without AT. So I mean, look, in that league, you do need a great quarterback.
Rare. That was even today's NFL football. That was rare.
Okay, so question number 2. There's your answer. I think you'll probably agree with me. There's not what else. It starts with the quarterback, and maybe it could start with the new leadership. Whoever they put in place has to bring a winning attitude, and.
But it's not only a winning attitude, okay? Because I'm gonna just say it's guys like Belichick, it's guys like Parcells who just made the Hall of Fame, right? Just got inducted. Just 2 guys who have been head.
Few far between.
No, but I'm saying though the old Bill Walsh, right? I'm just naming a few guys that are standards.
Yes, exactly. Some of the greatest.
But here's my point. They don't only demand, okay, because Belichick's more than just a coach. He runs the team from every aspect. Parcells, Walsh, all these guys, winners, okay? It's not only having a way to win, getting your team to win. It's the conduct that you bring, your conduct, your personal conduct. It's garnering respect, even though a guy like Parcells could be all over you, all right? But they still garnered the respect. They still did things a certain way, the right way, the way it's meant to be done.
Well, some would say they haven't made all the right moves, but you're right. But they've brought a winning attitude. They've brought a sense of, basically showing they know what they're doing. Joe Mack, not once has he shown. I don't think not once has he shown that he knows what he's doing in this go round. He's been able to scout the odd American player that he's turned up here. People will point to his Canadian players; they're not where they have to be. And the biggest position he has never been able to fill in quarterback. He took a chance on Buck Pierce. Unfortunately, it has not worked out, and he just could not rectify that.
Here's the problem: we knew this going in for about a year now.
Well, no, I'll tell you what. In the Free Press article where this story broke, basically Garth Buchko put it as Joe Mack knew we needed a quarterback this year. I talked to him about that, he said, and he said he would fix it. Well, he went and fixed it by having now their starter being a third string quarterback and their fourth string quarterback from last year being their starter. It just doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense.
He is right. He is right in that. I'm not arguing that point. He's right. Well, you and I have been talking about this week in, week out, and I've been on a mission. Get the guy fired. And I'll be happy when he's fired.
I think you've been picking on the wrong guy. I think it starts with the CEO. I think Buchko should have gone.
It starts with the CEO when he goes public with this. Now, we don't know if he hasn't had a conversation, but my guess is he hasn't. And my guess is that because doesn't he need approval to make that move? So he hasn't got it. So
he's recommended to the board, who has your favorite ex-Bombers, Bob Cameron and Trevor Kennard, front and center on that board.
Well, that's what happens when you have a kicker and punter on the team.
Right. They certainly are showing that their position their position on the field has not allowed them to make rational decisions on the board. But we never know what their votes are. There are two men on that board. Maybe they do bring rational decision making, and they're just not. They don't have the respect of the room, and no one listens to them. Who knows who controls that board? That's a mystery that everybody wants to figure out. And maybe it starts with that. They got to. Maybe it actually starts at the top. They got to revamp the board. They got to change the way these people get elected to the board. They got to change the old boys club they have going on there. They need fresh blood in there. They need me and you running that team.
Well, I'm not saying I can run a team. It's a lot easier to criticize a team. Maybe you could give it a good shot. I'm not saying I could do any better, but I don't claim to be.
Here's the point. This is the point I'm making. When you actually feel that you can run a team better than professionals who are charged with that duty, although the board are not professionals, this isn't their own. They all have other careers outside of it. But I'm talking about your general manager or even your CEO and sometimes coaches. Then you know that they're not doing something. Something is really off. I mean, everybody's a critic, but not, you can criticize a lot of people in the way they do their job, but you could downright say, I cannot do that job.
I can't do the job, but I can still criticize them because there should be people there that can. And, it's one thing even if we're talking about a team that was privately owned, and even then as a fan you can get on them. This is a team that's publicly owned. Running the team comes from the public. It comes from public taxes. And to mess up things and to run it in such a bush league fashion is unacceptable to the people of Winnipeg, the province of Manitoba. Okay, it's unacceptable, and I hold them accountable for that.
I agree, but how does the people of Manitoba change this?
You know what? I don't know. I've just been thinking, and this might not be a solution. But what if they had a committee, okay, of people that are season ticket holders, okay, and they're elected year to year or every couple of years, and these are people that are able to be an intermediary between the team and the fans, and could actually go to government. They have the power to go to government, so we need to take a vote to get the board out because they're not working for the people of Manitoba, okay? Somebody that represents the fans.
Who appoints this board? I got to look into this. I think for the next one, we got to examine who appoints this board.
I don't know. I'm just saying it's something that I consider. There's somebody who has to speak for the fans. People can't just override the government. But there has to be somebody that speaks for the, and I say a season ticket holder because the season ticket holder is the one that doles out the money to see the product, right? But the casual fan that goes to one or two games a year, I don't think should be empowered for that. But there should be something set up, something that gives the people the right to make change when it's coming out of their pocket. I don't know how it's done. I don't have the solution, but something has to be done to make the people that run the team accountable. Because right now it doesn't seem like they're accountable to anybody. All they are is an embarrassment. Now I got a question for you. What is owed to Mac if they release it?
I believe he has 1 year left on his contract.
Okay, so that's mine. You know what I do maybe he wants the money. You know what I do if I was Matt? I maybe would consider just resigning now. But the problem is, does he actually even read the paper? I mean, is the guy even around ever? Does he even know what's going around?
I just want to stop you for a second. I actually just was looking this up as we were talking, and this year the new chairman of the board, his name is Brock Bulbuck.
All right.
They actually had a nomination process back on June 7th to have a layperson sit on the board. Someone from the public, just what you said. They actually have a 13th director on the board, drawn from the general public, who's supposed to allow the board to be more open and accountable to the public. So they've actually opened this up. I guess we missed this article.
No, but I mean that's not even a solution for me. You know why? Because what happens when this new guy gets onto the board? He's overpowered. He's going to feel powerless, at least in the beginning, to go against anything that maybe the majority goes through. Okay? Because he is a lay person. What I'm saying is, empower a body of lay people to say when enough is enough, they can at least get the process of change being moved. And we're not talking about if the product isn't winning, that type of thing. Certain things is, you know what? You've hired a guy for an extended contract when you shouldn't have hired him in the beginning. He had a losing record. You gave more money. That's coming out of our pocket. Your CEO goes into the public and makes a fool out of the team. We expect more. Get rid of him. Okay? That type of thing. It's certain things that, the integrity of a club. Now when we didn't always have winning seasons when you and I were growing up, but I tell you what, there was history, tradition with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, okay, in the 80s and 90s. Okay? This is a team that you couldn't wait to go and see a game, right? And you almost knew every year that they would have a chance at least of getting into what was at the time when they were in it, the Western Conference, when they were actually in it, but even the Eastern Conference, right? This is a team you knew they were going to make the playoffs, there's no doubt about it, and they'd probably go to the conference championship game. And that was a given.
They actually became, I think people became, when they were winning so much, people lost their interest in the team. And that's what happened. I recall their glory days, as we like to think of them, and when. But I don't even know. I don't think there was as much interest in the team as there is now.
But you know what? I think that was a CFL problem. Okay, I think it was a CFL problem. It was a CFL identity crisis. I don't think it was.
The CFL didn't have their.
What I would say is, I would
US.
I would bet that Winnipeg and when they were in the Western Conference, the other Western Conference teams probably had a decent attendance compared to, let's say, a Toronto or an Ottawa. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I might be wrong, but so I mean, Winnipeg still had what was considered a strong organization. Today, everything's weak. The product is weak, and those who run the team are weak. And I don't care if there's one member of the board who's acting normally. I don't see that. All I see is a horrid product on the field, and those who are making decisions, running decisions, are horrid. They're laughing stock. There's no respect for this team. I don't even know how they get somebody to come in.
I agree, and I just want to add that Buchko, the CEO, made this recommendation while he was on holiday. So I think, honestly, that's where we have to leave it, because the guy made his recommendation when he was on holidays. That's what he did. He didn't even have the guts to tell Joe Mack.
What's he doing on holiday during the season?
Well, it's a bye week, so he needed to get away. I mean, listen, he's worked hard. I'm not going to deny that he hasn't tried or worked hard. He's a bit of a buffoon how he's handled this, but it's been a trying time trying to get that stadium up and running. He made a bad decision. He wasn't a football guy to begin with. Your CEO was not a football guy, and he was charged with a difficult task in trying to find a new general manager, and he made the wrong choice. And he should pay for this.
I do. I think it starts at the top. You know what? We've kind of gone, I think, a little more than we wanted. I just got to end it here. For the simple reason is, we can talk till we're blue in the face, and it's going to be the same old situation with the Bombers. And unfortunately, you and I have to endure, the fans of Winnipeg have to endure a lot more of this. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Anyway,
it can't get much worse, but you're right. This could be the proverbial nail in the coffin for this season.
well, what we decided last week is do you see this team winning 3 games or more of the season? I don't.
I really don't. I mean, I'm gonna let them play those games out against Hamilton and Edmonton, and if they can't hit 500, go 2-2 in those games, then the season's a write-off. So you know what? I'm gonna give them a couple more games because it's a long season. Montreal was getting trounced when I last saw. They were down 32-9 or 11 or something like that. So you never know what can happen, but this would not make me want to go work for this organization. This Bush League way of terminating somebody. And I gotta say, I don't think Mack's innocent in that. Actually, update 35-13 in Montreal, so they're actually really taking a beating in Montreal. But no, on a serious note, why would Mack did this to some veteran football players, so he's kind of getting his just desserts in that sense. But
he did it to a coach.
He did. You're right. He actually did it to the coach too. You're right.
Yeah, and I don't deny that he did it, and that's why I thought that he should be fired a long time ago because of that.
But it is a.
I have an issue is I don't believe in this type of retribution. While I personally believe he's getting what he deserves, I expect more from the organization. All right, I expect them to have certain ways of conduct that, regardless if he acted a certain way, the organization's going to have lead by example and do something the way it should be done. Because if they don't, it's a mess.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
Anyway, so it's really, I don't know, celebrate.
I agree with you, but I agree with you because usually you're wrong and I'm right. But in this case, I think we're both right.
So maybe it's celebrate bad times, huh?
Well, maybe we'll raise it, hopefully it's celebrate good times are yet to come. It can only get better, let's hope.
Alright, we'll see you next time.
Yes, we'll be reconvening as soon as that meeting's over. I think we'll be back on the air here to digest and analyze who the next GM is or could be or whoever they're going to appoint.
Alright, dude. Have a good night.
Adios.
Bye.
Woo-hoo!